If you're a high contrast person, you probably would want to go high contrast in some of your outfits. So like high contrast from between your pants and your shirt and things like that. If you're a low contrast person, then you can wear a lot of low contrast stuff. So that's when you can do a lot of the mono looks and things like that, because those things work better.
Welcome to the Hidden City Podcast. I'm Grant.
And I'm Doug, and we're here to share some of the incredible stories and people from Oak Cliff that you might not know.
We're going to sit down with some of the visionaries, craftsmen, and business owners who have shaped Oak Cliff into what it is today.
Oak Cliff is on the south bank of the Trinity River, a few miles south of downtown Dallas. While technically it was part of Dallas, it was its own city for a long time, and it still has that independent spirit.
We'll dive into the history and the spirit of this place, exploring the different challenges and successes that defined it.
This is The Hidden City, a podcast about the people and the stories that make Oak Cliff extraordinary. Welcome to this episode of the Hidden City Podcast. Today we have Derandon Davis of D for Dapper. He's the owner, and he has a space here in Tyler Station that's right by Wax Space. We really are excited for you guys to get to know him. Derandon, thanks for being here, man.
Man, I have to say I'm pretty honored to do this. I feel like one of the cool kids today.
Hey, man.
So it's like, yeah.
This is so
good.
fun. Thanks for
good.
doing it.
Hey, well, Derandon, I know a lot of D for Dapper is about fashion and style, and just kind of an opening question, like how did you get connected to that in fashion and get into personal style like that?
I think what's crazy is I think I've always kind of been in it for a lot longer than I thought I was. My dad, I give a credit to my dad to a lot of it.
Nice.
You know, he taught me a lot of the gentleman things when I was younger, like right when I was 7 or 8, he showed me how to iron a dress shirt, you know.
Nice.
Hey, we're going to church. You can take your jacket off, lay it down the back. Don't get any wrinkles. You don't wear your jacket while you're driving, and just little things like that. And then I went to college preparatory school right down the street here. Shout out to Bishop Dunn.
Let's
Dude,
go, Bishop
we
Dunn.
got a lot of Bishop
Those
Dunn
BD
people.
Falcons. Yeah,
Let's
that's
go.
right. Yeah,
What is
it's
it?
The Falcons.
The Falcon? What did you say? The
BD Falcons.
BD Falcon. There we go. That's awesome. I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if that's a thing, but I guess
I
I'm
like it.
making
I like it. I like it.
It
I
is
like it.
now.
All right.
Yeah, but you know, there's like what was crazy is like I think I was one of the few kids that actually knew how to actually tie a tie.
Mm-hmm.
You know, most guys would just pull it up enough to where they can get it over the head and put it back on,
Oh,
and
yeah.
stuff
Interesting.
like that. You know, my dad taught me a lot of that stuff, and a lot of it stuck with me. I think.
Cool.
When I got into my career life, as an adult, tried lots of different jobs and ventures. Got into the financial service world, and you know, you got to be dressed up and dressed and booted.
Yeah, there's
you
like
know?
there's a certain kind of
Suited and booted.
Suited and booted. Yeah, there's like a certain kind of attire that.
Yes.
You can't just
That
be wearing
business.
brewery shirts and farm shirts.
Yeah, that's right. Doesn't pass.
Yeah, it's got to dress the part.
Yeah,
and
that's it.
there was a lot of styles and stuff I wanted to do, but didn't have the funds to do it.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, a lot
Yeah.
of times you have to look a certain way at a certain amount of money. You always almost have to go the second-hand route. So
Yeah.
like, I probably was into this whole vintage, you know, the vintage clothing and everything. It's so
man.
heavy right
It
now.
is
Yeah.
blown up.
I've been in it, you know, thrifting and going state sales probably longer than I thought.
Really?
So I guess I'm just gonna say I'm an OG in this.
There you go.
You know,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
like,
yeah.
So I've always been, you know, wearing granddad's shoes and everything. That's always been a thing for me.
So-
You know,
That's
Do
cool.
you
So
feel
it's
like
like,
that's
That's really
a
cool.
younger? I mean, I would assume millennial, right? Or what are you?
I am at the end of the millennials.
Okay, okay.
May 26th. I was born in '82, so I
Oh,
think
okay.
I'm right on
You're
the
like-
tail end of
okay,
it.
okay.
Yeah. So
I mean,
I'm
I feel like
technically a
Gen Z
millennial.
has gone crazy on vintage
Oh, yeah.
kind of stuff.
Oh, yeah,
Like,
it's heavy.
Grant, you tell me. I don't know.
I'm not a Gen Z.
I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
I'm on I'm on one side of the millennial,
millennial
phase.
but I feel like that's like a trend, or like maybe something with that generation that's like
It's a lot of the
seems
sustainability,
super-
sustainability factor of it,
Okay.
and you know, a lot of times it's like being something better for the earth and things like that. And like I say, I'm all for all that. I just was doing it because you know that was the best way for me to
yeah,
look good.
that's how you did it.
It's
That's
like,
how you did it.
quality.
You know, yeah.
There's a certain quality you get with those nicer pieces, but if you can get them secondhand,
Oh yeah.
that cost
Oh,
isn't
And
there.
they can stay for that long.
And they
'cause
do
it's that-
last a long time.
Yeah,
a lot
that's
of them,
cool.
I would think.
It's even getting deeper into that now because like I've gotten to a point where I'm super deep into this now. It's like studying fabrics and studying the history of a lot of these big name brands, and like I'm all about the staples. I'm all about the you know, okay, polo was a big deal, but who started this thing? I mean, actually, because fun fact, did y'all know that Ralph Lauren actually worked for Brooks Brothers before
Oh,
he started
I didn't
Polo?
know.
I had no idea.
No,
Yeah,
that's
so
really?
What's crazy about that is when you start paying attention to a lot of everybody takes something from somewhere, and it's
Right,
like,
everyone's
right.
You can, if you really start paying attention, because Brooks Brothers started in 1818. They're the OG of all.
Yeah.
this.
They are,
Before
yeah.
there was Polo, there was Brooks Brothers.
Yeah.
Before there was J. Crew, there was Brooks Brothers. So
Yeah.
you start to see a lot of the similarities. And
Oh,
you
that's
really start to
interesting.
go back into like a lot of the vintage Brooks Brothers stuff and things like that. And I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's like
You can
Sta-
trace the roots a little bit.
Yeah, you really can. And it's like staples never die. They get recycled and they come back around. So I think that's part of what you're talking about with this vintage thing is that it was eventually going to come back around.
Yeah, I
So
see what
it's
you're
like,
saying.
Yeah, when it's
Well, and when it's built well, like you're saying, it lasts. And so it's like people, I mean, I think of one of my friends was in kind of like a fashion tech company. They did like reward style. Josh Weatherall would do like kind of referrals for online stuff. But anyways, he would always tell me fashion wise, like saving up for certain pieces that he would have over time. And that kind of opened up my mind to like, oh, you want to get this piece that can last for so long. But maybe some of that is doing like the vintage things so that you can do that, or I don't know.
And it's really so crazy, like the way they talk it up, if unless it's really that good of materials and stuff. When you get it, sometimes when you get it in the second hand, it's a better product because a lot of things is the big thing I'm seeing a lot of time now. They're showing like how stuff looks better after it's worn.
It's worn for a while.
Like Polo is really talking really strong about a lot of their signature chinos, like because they name a lot of their chinos after big time famous artists and from back in the day and things like that. So it's like you got some Hemingway,
Interesting. That's
khaki
fun.
trousers, and then I looked over the other day. I said, "Oh, dang, I got some of these." I was like,
Dude,
and
that's
then
cool.
you start paying attention to that stuff because some things like a good pair of leather dress shoes.
Yeah.
You have to break that leather in.
Right.
Because when you first get them, they're like, oh, these are stiff.
Yeah.
It takes time to. So like sometimes when you are getting it that second hand, you actually are possibly getting a more comfortable or better product. And if you're cool with the wear and the look, it gives it that character and things like that.
It has character. That's a good way to say it.
Yeah.
Like but you do have to get over that mental hurdle some people have. Like, well, this was owned by somebody else. Or this was an old, item. It's like good style is kind of timeless in some ways. So
well, and even going off that, this is a personal example, but every fall I ended up getting a barber jacket, and I like look forward to wearing it because it's like one of those pieces that just I enjoy. But I'm like, oh, I want to take care of this so that I can kind of give it down someday.
Almost like a heritage
piece
one of those, that you can.
I mean, it might be so smelly by the end of that time. I don't know, but you do kind of like you start to think of those pieces where it's like, man, there's quality to this stuff, and you want to buy the quality stuff that can be passed down, or find those types of things that are kind of requiring maybe a curator like yourself to be like, hey, this is a good thing to have in my shop, because I know that it's made well and people find value in it.
It takes time. This was a new kind of concept for me with the selvage denim or like just denim in general, where it's like, I think I got some of those for a birthday one time, and I put them on one time. I was like, I hate this. This feels so uncomfortable.
It's some getting used to. It's like, do I want to style that much?
Is it really worth it? But then like you wear it and you get over that awkward phase of like, this is uncomfortable. I don't like it. And then it's like, oh, this feels really good. It's like molded to me. But yeah, you kind of have to commit to that.
Yeah, it is. It's a lot of that because it's two sides of it too. Because like I have to be like, because I do this every day. I have a tendency to do too much sometimes. Try too many different things, too many different styles.
Okay.
And like I feel like I'm getting to a point. We're always evolving as people, but your styles, man, my style has changed. Like. So many times, just since the last 10 months being here at Tyler Station, I was dressing a certain way, and then now I'm starting to play around doing my own alterations and stuff, and like I had all my pants tailored a certain way. Yeah. And it was more of a trendy style. Yeah. And then as my time, I started learning more about fashion, more about fit, silhouette, proportions, things like that. All of those little details, I was like, I go in my closet and I got shoot, I don't want to say how many clothes I have, but have several pair of pants, and I'm like, I don't even wear my pants like this anymore. Because I'm getting more traditional, more into full cut stuff and everything. Yeah. I was like, the cool thing about having a shop like this, I can just take those and just put them in the shop.
Yeah,
right.
And I was like,
that's hilarious.
I was looking, I was like, don't wear this anymore, don't wear this anymore. And I'm going to. So like, that's part of the challenge that I'm running into a lot of times. And like, my wife sees, you have a lot of clothes. I'm like, I wear everything. It's okay. You know, it's like, but.
Well, also it's important that you're like, as the face of D for Dapper, you're constantly showing what's possible. Mm-hmm. That's one thing I've appreciated about your shop. It's like, there's so many possibilities that can be a day-to-day thing that you wear, rather than just some lousy t-shirts. We end up doing a lot of
shirts and wax base shirts.
No, you can. There's a lot of different outfits you can use day to day, and I appreciate that you're always kind of showing us what's possible.
But don't sleep on the t-shirts though.
Oh no, we love it.
It's knowing,
dude, this is a vintage t-shirt. No,
it's like shit. It's part of you, right on brand.
The show today is brought to you by Go Cliff. Have you heard of the Mardi Gras Parade or Bastille on Bishop? This organization puts on festivals like this for the neighborhood, and it's run by individuals in the neighborhood. And so it's an amazing organization, and they do some great work. If you want to learn more about the festivals that are coming up, go to their website, gocliff.org, to see which ones are up and how to attend.
That's the thing that I've learned. Like, as much as I'm doing, simplicity is still key. And it's also, because a lot of dressing and everything, a lot of outfits will work if you have the confidence or the attitude of things to wear them. Now, I'm not, me personally, there's a lot of people, you can wear whatever you want. You know what I'm saying? As long as it's like, sounds objective or subjective. I don't know which one. Subjective. Yeah, it's like you hear it all the time. But I always feel like there's got to be a foundation and some framework. We need to know all the rules and everything so we'll know how to break them.
Yeah.
You know, just because, yes, you can wear whatever you want. But there's certain things like, and it might be something that work, but it might not personally work for you. Your silhouette, your fit and everything. That's been the hardest thing for me because there was things I wanted to do. And I was like,
it just doesn't.
My physique ain't quite there yet. You know, it's like
my build is
and it's like, and there's a style and build for everybody. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, that's where you're really getting into the details of things, and the challenge is what we're running into now is because like when you look at trends in fashion, some of them are technically not correct, you know, but it's a trend and everybody's doing it, so it is still a thing. But like, it depends on, this is where you see all the different debates and everything. So you got these really traditional people and, you don't need to be doing that. It's like, if you're going to do something and you're going to go against the grain, as long as I feel like if you can explain it and show me some history and like, as long as you're just not doing stuff.
It's intentional to an extent.
Yes, it's like.
Is it like broken down by generations in your, like the different types of fashion? I mean, there's obviously like the trope of like Gen Z wearing baggy clothes and millennials wearing skin tight jeans or stuff like the skinny pants. Like, is it generational or is it different like groups that just like are attracted to different like fashion? How would you?
Man,
I know it's a big.
Because like I'm hearing so many different things. I know, but that's like one of the main questions I'm hearing like through I follow all these people on social media, and like one guy was telling us like, and it was very interesting. He was saying a lot of fashion, a lot of it comes down to how you're feeling, personality. He was talking about what's going on in the world or the country at that time affects how fashion is. And then he was breaking it back, taking it back to different things. Like he went back to like 2008. There was you have the stock market crash.
Right.
And that's when people went from really dressed and they went to more casual flannels and like basically he was saying it was the birth of the hipster, you know, and it was like, and because what was going on, and then 2014 things started to get better, so people started dressing a little bit nicer. He's talking about House of Cream, all these things started blowing up, and I was like, whoa, okay, now that's a different angle there. But I think it can be a lot of different factors.
It's so many.
And it's like it's always generational thing has something to do with it. You know, it's what's going on, how people are feeling. It's like. Yeah, it's like there's a lot of different factors. Sometimes it's this, sometimes it's this. It's like a lot of things going on at once.
Yeah, there's so many variables that are acting on the fashion industry and then dictating what, maybe the current trends look like. Or that's really interesting. I never thought about that. And also intention, the idea that there is like some pretty timeless principles to good fashion that, exist outside of a time period.
Yeah.
So I could see as a shop owner that being like a real challenge to, obviously want to safeguard the good fashion principles and also, be able to sell things that people are interested in.
I always have to, our shop is very unique in a lot of ways. It's kind of, when you walk in, a lot of dudes don't know exactly what it is.
Yeah.
Because it's like, and my part of me is like, it's heavy. It's like, I don't like saying, oh, you're in a thrift store. No, you're not in a thrift store. But I get it secondhand. So I always have to like, that's why I started doing certain posts of like giving a whole rundown of what is D for Dapper. So it's like, so, because we're basically a male boutique. We have a lot of old, new, and repurposed. And because it's always different thing, because we're just not, majority of what we have in there is our secondhand clothing and things that we do. We call it vintage to modern resale.
That's it. Is that it?
Yeah.
I like it.
But then I have things that I make. I have a full accessory line of things I'm making, like these scarves that I am having to be wearing. And then we have new products that we outsource, like our hat collections and things like that. So it's a combination of a lot of things going on. So it's like, it has to be, we have to have people in there. That's what's challenging me, having people in there to working there. It's like they have to be able to speak to everything that's going on. But
it's also always felt gentlemanly, I feel like, too. And I think that's a through line that you've kind of mentioned as like a vision of the shop. Maybe something you even took from your dad, you were saying. But it's I've always felt that when you get in there.
What's so crazy about that is I'm a very visual person. So I didn't know exactly how, because when we were in Deep Ellum, I didn't know exactly how the store was going to be laid out in this thing. All I knew was I want a seating area to where people can be comfortable. And because the word that I got because I tell everybody, I personally didn't have a vision of a storefront. This is God's vision, and I am just on the wave writing whatever he has for it. So like when it actually pivots and turns into something else, I'm okay with it. So like, hey, whatever he wants to do, hey, let's do it. So it's like I had a guy. My first vision was I wanted to do a mobile male boutique because I was doing all these pop-ups over in Deep Ellum, all over the DFW, and I saw ladies doing
Wax
this.
Space in 2017.
Yeah, it's like I think Jack Mason was the first person I saw. They took that Airstream and made like a shop out of it.
Yep.
And I was like, that's super cool. So first, I don't have money to get Airstream. I'm like, or to redo it. And so I was like, maybe I could find an old UPS truck and gut it out. I threw the idea at my wife. She completely shut it down. No, it's not going to work. Because I saw ladies doing it. Ladies were doing these boutique. And I was like, this is really cool. Yeah. Then I was still trying to pitch this thing. I pitched it to one of the guys. It was Ben. He was Ben Body Butters at the time. He was, shout out to Ben. And I pitched it to him. He said, bro, that's absolutely not going to work. He said, first of all, dudes are not going to go get up into a sweaty truck to buy sport coats. It's like you don't have enough room for them to try it on. He said, bro, you having problems in a 10x10 booth. You can only have one guy shopping at a time. He said, you need space. Every time you do a show, you almost need a double booth. He says, and then he said, bro, you got to understand, you are selling an experience. What you have out here is completely different from anybody else out here. And that stuck to me. So when we were making the space, it's like we want it to be an experience. And then the 3 years we were in Deep Ellum, we just organically started to turn into this whole men's lounge social club type thing.
Yep.
And that was really cool. Yeah. So that's the direction we're trying to go now, of just being more than just, because guys are coming over and, guys want to get dressed up, getting a little elevated casual and drinking bourbon and smoking cigarettes. Can't let them smoke in the shop because of all the fabrics, but maybe having to smoke outside and everything. It all kind of goes together. So I was like, okay, we're gonna put a bar in the back. And so my first vision was to have like a mobile barber be in the back. And then ran out of space. So but that all was going together. So I was like, guys started, we started talking about spirits and this and that. Before you know it, they're bringing bottles, and before you know it, they're not leaving. So and it's like, oh, okay, this is cool,
yeah,
you know. And so, yeah, it's cool to see how because I never saw like the gentleman thing. It's like my guy, but a lot of my buddies are like, you don't know how swanky you have this place in here. I'm like, I'm using Xerox over here.
Yeah.
For my clothing. It's really that fancy? I'm like,
Feels that
I guess
way.
it does.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's like,
that's cool.
Yeah, but that was some of the cool things that we've noticed over time that we didn't know when we were getting into it. Like,
yeah, well, that's great.
That's great. You're creating a vibe.
Yeah, it's definitely a vibe.
So I feel like there might be somebody listening to the show who's like, I like what I'm hearing. Mm-hmm. I need, I probably could use some fashion help, but
and those people are like Grant and Doug.
Yeah.
We're like,
hypothetically speaking,
we just need to walk over, Grant. Yeah.
What does it look like when somebody walks in the shop and they get to meet you and talk to you about, you know, maybe some of their style? And what are you trying to impart to them when they come to visit you?
You know, another thing that's so crazy is that I didn't realize I was becoming a men's stylist through this whole process.
Oh, interesting.
And I've embraced that because that takes a level of confidence to say that I'm going to show somebody else how to wear their clothing.
Yeah, no kidding.
And so it's, you know, I'm very, you know, everything I do is with a laid back approach. You know, it's like I have to do it's more of the asking the questions and seeing, you know, you got to dig into the guys or even the ladies and see what it is what's your daily life look like, you know, what are you trying to do, you know, what's up, what does your personality look like, you know, what is your vibe? And then you kind of go from there. And sometimes it's like, maybe I don't have that much I can help you with here, but normally we do have plenty of stuff or something, or maybe it's accessories, maybe something's like,
but you can be honest with people.
Yeah. Like, oh yeah. I'm blatantly honest. I've been in sales for a very, very, very long times, but I'm the farthest from a salesy guy.
Yeah.
And like, that's probably why I didn't work at a lot of corporations doing sales, because I wanted to sell my way. And yeah, it's just, I think some guys have been surprised that like, I'm like, bro, you're not buying that. No, that don't look that, bro. When they'll listen, that's part of the challenge too, of like, you know,
you're working with dudes.
Yeah, and it's like, and that's another thing that I'm in the process of working and researching and learning how men operate, how they shop, very different from women, and being able to cater to that.
Like value-wise, or like just decision-making wise, how would you say that?
All of the above.
Okay.
Because, you know, I can kind of tell when guys, you know, you can kind of tell when you're getting talking to guys, it's like, okay, he's a high-end guy.
Yeah.
I have some guys that are just, you know, I have a couple of dudes, different car salesmen and things like that, and they're just, you know, they go straight to my high-end stuff, my high-end ties. I have this one guy, I always come in, I call him Lincoln Lawyer, and he is my dude. He comes in, and he goes straight to my high-end ties, and he'll go pocket squares, and he's like, and he's so direct. I love it.
Yeah.
And he's like, I like that. That's ugly. No, like that. Canali sucks. And he'll pick them out. Boom, 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 boom. He got 4. Okay, I need 4 pocket squares with him. And he'll pick them together. And now he's been doing it so much now that he's now the power tie and power pocket square guy at the office. So he had to keep it going.
Yeah.
So it's like, and just knowing like, okay, him, and like I run into a lot of different attorneys with that. And then you have some guys that are just, you know, they have an idea. Some of them don't have an idea, and just it depends on what their confidence level is, and like.
Yeah, it seems like having confidence to dress a certain way is a big part of it.
Yeah.
And like the attitude. How do you address that side of it? Like, what do you?
It comes from being a push, or it comes from being a nudge to push on how we're stretching these guys on certain things, and it's like, say, the confidence thing is a big deal, because like I've told guys, I was like, I can put you in something that will look really, really dope. Will give you that sauce that everybody's talking about. It's like, yeah, you know how to dress. You don't have that sauce. You know, it's like, I can give you the sauce, but if you don't have the confidence to wear it, one thing, you're not going to wear it, and you're going to look uncomfortable. People are going to know that you don't normally dress like this. Yeah. So I always say the look that works is the one you own. Okay. You're going to have to own that look. You know, and it's like, and that style, and like, I have some guys that are ready to be like, oh, I'm trying some new things, and sometimes I'll put them in something. I was like, and I'll tell them, I was like, they put on some pants. I'm like, okay, those are pleated pants, those are high waisted pants. They need to be more up around your belly button. Are you okay with wearing them that high? I was like, oh yeah, nah, I don't know. I said, yeah, let's try something else, you know? Yeah. And so it's just it's all part of the process. It was like, because I have some guys I run into a handful of guys that are just so into fashion, and then that's when it can get really fun, because they can find a lot of some of my really vintage pieces and some of my unique stuff. And then you have some guys that are just, hey, I only wear a suit once or twice a year.
Right.
So it's like, we don't need to get you 5 suits. It's like, we probably just need you to get you a couple sport coats so you can move on. So it just just depends. It's a case by case situation. It really is.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, it sounds like it's like giving confidence to them in some ways, listening to what kind of speaks to them. Mm-hmm. Do you, after being in Oak Cliff for a while now, do you see does Oak Cliff kind of are they attracted to a certain type of this, or it's just you're getting people from all over?
Deep Ellum was more of an all over thing.
Yeah.
You get tourists in Deep. I didn't realize how much tourists you get in Deep
Ellum,
because of concert venues. They had some dudes come in from Barcelona that were going to a show.
I do feel like that place is one of the places in Dallas that just if you come to Dallas, everyone's like, oh, you got to go visit Deep Ellum.
Well, it's the biggest,
or at least at one point it was like that, right? Yeah, Bishop Arts now is more.
It's the biggest entertainment district with all that food and everything. So it's the first coming attraction, right? With the Perot building and the aquarium and stuff like that. But Oak Cliff what's crazy is being originally from Oak Cliff, which is so crazy. It's so crazy to come back full circle, having a shop down the street where I used to grow up, where I used to go to high school. And when you're young, you don't pay attention sometimes. You could be in a really cool neighborhood and not even know it, not paying attention to it. It's like coming back to Dallas and Oak Cliff and just recently, man, I did not realize how cool Oak Cliff was. I wasn't paying attention to that. But it is a bit different because now Tyler Station being in the middle of a neighborhood, the clientele is a bit different. So that's some of what we're still in the process of learning, different things like that. So it's like, now we're dealing with more smaller young families and things like that, more kids coming through the shop and things, So got to make sure to keep the dog treats. That was the same thing in Deep Ellum. People, they're going to take your dogs. And I think they still smell the dog food from
before.
It's like they know the regulars, they come by, they're going to stop by that door.
That's crazy.
But I always got to keep a little milk bones or something for the little ones, for the dogs, So that's
Today's show is brought to you by Waxspace. Are you looking for a place in Oak Cliff to connect and meet other neighbors? Then Waxspace is the place for you. Come join the Neighborhood Work Club, and for just $80 a month, you can get all the things you need to be productive at work. Why work from home when you can work from a place with other neighbors? We've got cold brew, fresh coffee all day, phone booths for your meetings. We've got a podcast studio and a lot of other amenities here. So visit thewaxspace.com to learn more and sign up today. So, Derandon, you grew up in Oak Cliff. What was life like growing up here?
That's my hood, but it was the thing that I've noticed lately is I think Oak Cliff I have to explain it a certain way to certain people that are not from here.
Yeah.
Because it can get more of a bad rap than it should. I was talking to a guy in East Texas. Let's go down there. He's like, "Oh, I'll never go to Oak Cliff." I'm like, "You have no idea."
No.
Now, every neighborhood and every has their streets and their rough spots. I mean, North Dallas, where the nicest of places over here. I mean, Park Lane is split up by 75. One side is good, one side is bad.
Yeah.
So it's like you're gonna get that in almost every neighborhood in every city. So, but it's like the thing. That's what I'm learning more about it now. A lot of the history, but growing up, I went to Bishop Dunn, grew up a little different from. I was supposed to go to Carter High School. I guess probably some of the biggest experiences I can remember, growing up through Bishop Dunn, Miss Daly, she really cared about us. And I remember one time when I was going into my junior year, my parents didn't have enough money to keep me going there. And I was going to go to Carter, and in some ways I was kind of excited about going to public school, something different, and it's like, but she brought me and my mom in. She says, he's been here 2.5 years. I don't want him to, I would hate for him to have to start all over again.
Yeah, and start over.
He's playing football, basketball here and everything. She said, so she waived like the first 3 months of our tuition just so my parents get caught up to so keep me in there.
Yeah. Wow.
And so that's something I'll always remember there. And like, it's really cool because like I was an indoor kid, you know what I'm saying? I played ball and stuff like that, but like I was more of a recluse. I'm more this outrovert person that I am now. My parents and everybody, they have no idea.
They're like, what? Who is this guy?
He's talking to everybody. And like, I was a very shy, really quiet kid growing up, and then I didn't start coming out of my shell probably till high school, so like, but it's. So
like Bishop Dunn time. And man, we've heard such good things about Bishop Dunn. It's awesome, man.
Yes.
It seems like a
incredible
huge
school.
Huge asset.
What's so crazy about that is I still have a lot of my buddies that I play ball with have coached there. Still have some buddies that are still in part of the administrative office there at Bishop Dunn. And because like when I played ball back in my day, in the 2000s.
Yeah, there you go.
It's like the starting quarterback when I finished in 2000 and the starting running back were the head coach and the offensive coordinator there, where when we were making that run at 5 years going to state, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Got 2, and it's like,
let's go Falcons.
We started doing a little thing, it's like, and that was really cool because I always telling people like, oh yeah, Mike,
I was in this run.
That's pretty cool, actually. Yeah,
it's like so, it's cool that way of like I didn't realize. I think a lot of people don't. I might not be correct about this, but it seems like a lot of folks don't leave Oak Cliff once they get here, and like, cause I've ran into a lot of people that I went to high school with. I'm running into a lot more of them here. Yeah. So I think that just shows how cool and how eclectic Oak Cliff is and like how big it is.
It's
like,
it is big.
It's hard to determine because some of the neighborhoods have kind of changed a little bit because like I was technically grew up in what was called Danieldale, but I think they've changed the name to it's like Wolf Creek or something like that. Yeah, it's like so I'm more South Oak Cliff, like edge of. I grew up behind Carter High School, Hampton and Wheatland over there. You know, so right on the edge of before you're going into Soto or Duncanville, and so. But it's like my wife was pulling up some areas. She was looking at a house. I was like, oh yeah, this is over here by 67 going towards Southwest Center. Oh no, it's Redbird again. No, it's Redbird Center. It's not Southwest Center. Yeah. So they brought the name back. So it's like that is nostalgia there. So like Redbird Mall. That was the hangout.
That was it.
Man, I think the Champs is still over there. It's like, man, I used to get all my because Reeboks was heavy back then. I wasn't a Nike kid. I wasn't a Adidas. I was the classic Reeboks. I've always been into the classic. I guess so. It's like the classic Reeboks and everything.
Well, you just got some brands that you love, right?
Yeah.
Like Reebok.
There's some I still stick to. Yeah, I was wearing Puma. I still wear Pumas back then. I'm still wearing them now.
What's some of your favorites right now?
Oh, tennis. Well, I actually just bought one of my first pair of tennis shoes in like a couple of years because I realized I wasn't wearing tennis shoes. I am a loafer guy and boot guy majority of the time. And I looked over, I was like, man, I guess I need to go get some tennis shoes. So I went and got me some of those New Balance 550s that everybody's wearing. It's like I'm trying not to be trendy. Everybody got the 550 on. I was like so, but. For me, I'm always in I'm more of an elevated casual guy, and it's like some of it's dressing the part, but some of it's just that's what I have evolved into as a
You're attracted
as a person.
to,
so, but
if you had to pick one brand that like inspired you the most, or that you've stuck with the longest in your years of looking at fashion, which one would you pick?
It's gonna be Ralph. I always tell people, it's like I've been self-employed for a very long time now, well, a good little while. And I said, if Ralph Lauren came through the door right now and said he had a position for me, I would entertain it.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of history. And it was so crazy, it's like now like the old money and the preppy and the Ivy League looks are so heavy right now.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm trying to be in one of those positions like, man, I was already on it.
I know.
It's like, so, but like right when I started digging into the history of him and just started like a lot of his Americana looks and everything, the WRL stuff. And I was like, and then I started seeing a feed of it on my phone. It's like, oh, so now everybody started doing segments on, hey, Ralph Lauren was really dope. And I was like, oh, it's like, that helps me to make me feel like I'm ahead of the curve, trying to stay ahead of the curve.
Yeah.
Because I follow a lot of European trends and looks, and it's like I'm always trying to determine what is your style and look. Because like, one thing that people always say is that your wardrobe should say a lot about your personality and who you are. And then I started thinking about that. It's like, shoot, what's my clothes saying? It's like, about me. But it definitely shows on from private school. It's like, but I've always anything preppy, Ivy League. I can Americana. I can do. That's my go. That's definitely my go-to. But now I'm getting into I'm a mixture of different vintage stuff, traditional stuffs, a lot of tailoring. I tried to play around doing some of the 70s stuff, like a lot of flare leg and the Paperboy. And then it's like I started watching a lot of these black 70s exploitation films and like watching how Sydney was dressing and all the different stuff and some of those guys. And I was really loving the look, but like this is where knowing how your body shape looks and everything. Cause a lot of those pants were high waisted. And I was like, can't quite do it. Still working on this belly a little bit, Like, so, I might go back to it. Nice. I'm still working on it. It's like, but yeah, and my wife kept telling me, it's like, this is not you. And that's why I have to be careful about trying not to force things.
Yeah. Makes sense.
But but back to your original question. I think Ralph has been really heavy for me right now. Ralph, I've always been into J. Crew. I've been on the LL Bean lately.
Okay, nice, dude. LL Bean's amazing.
Yeah, the waxy field jacket, farm jacket style stuff and everything, and just
heritage-y kind of
something. Wearing jackets and layering, because layering is such an important part of fashion. Trying to show people how to layer them with jackets, because like going through all these different eras. Right before I left Deep Ellum, I was wearing a whole bunch of sport coats, showing people how to wear all these different sport coats, different ways, dress them up, dress them down. This past fall, because I love fall because you can layer easier. Yeah. I said I only wore like a handful of sport coats because I was working on my shacket wear.
There you go.
And stuff like that. And it's like, then I look back because I take pictures of all my outfits to make sure to remember what I was wearing. And like, I said, dang, I didn't wear any sport coats. So, now and then. I think now every season I try to be intentional about some certain form of dress, because like at the end of the fall I was being intentional about wearing neckties. So I started throwing more neckties in. This coming fall it's going to be, I'm thinking about the bow ties now, because
there we go.
I have bow ties and I haven't worn them in a while. I was like, okay, we're going to try to really mix these back in to the wear, because like a bow tie is one of those things. Is like a guy, you're either a bow tie guy or you're not. There's not too in between with it. You got a handful of in between guys, but most guys when they wear bow ties, that's what they do. And they own it too, and you can tell. But yeah, that's probably the new thing. Trying to.
Speaking of seasons, we got summer coming up. Tell us about how you approach like your summer fit. Is there any tips for us as we're like, because Texas is hot. So it feels like the layering feels like less of an option. But maybe that's not true. What would you say, or like
how are you coaching people kind of?
Linen. Anything light or breathable. That's the key. It can be summertime is like, it's easier to be really stylish in the fall because you can layer and add so many different things. Not so many, especially here in Texas. You have to be, it's creative. And then that goes back to just be simplistic, and now it's more about like, top and the bottom, some shorts, shirt. If you can handle trying to layer, like I have a look that I want to do, and I'm getting close, man. I'm getting the stomach down. I want to wear some high-waisted shorts with the wife pleaser and the open like,
dude, that's a good goal to get
man,
into that
and
outfit.
just like
yeah.
I already got the shoes, the loafers, I got all that.
Ready.
It's just like, yeah, I want to rock that look. I was looking at a dude last night, and I was like, man, I want to rock that look.
Yeah.
But I'm not quite. And this is a confidence thing. Not quite confident to throw on a white beater and not looking like, you know, I should have a beer in my hand or something.
Yeah.
But it's like, yeah, it's like, it's a level of sexiness, have the chest hair out and everything.
Dude,
and it's
there
just like,
you go.
but like, yeah, that's about how, you know, a summery, you know, flowery shirt with a, you know, that's about as much as you can layer here in Texas when you get in 90-degree weather, you know. But yeah, it's just keeping it simple, you know. Nice. And then probably what you pay most attention to is, now that I'm getting to all these different layers of, like, now I'm getting into the whole image consultant thing. It's like, you know, now the color consultations. And another thing is, like, then I started, like, when I started paying attention, started listening to all that, then I'm looking back at the way I was dressing. I was like, oh man, it's about contrast, right? And all this. And
my wife just told me about color consultation the other day. I was
that's
like,
a business,
what are you talking about?
Bro,
Can someone explain that to me?
Bro, it is literally a business. It's like, you know,
I believe it.
It's helpful, but then there's always the gray areas, because you know, the biggest thing to talk about now is, like, you know, are you low, medium, or high contrast? And basically,
like, this color didn't work well with her skin type. And
and
like,
warmness.
She's like, it makes me look washed out, or this. And I was just like, all right.
It can get, there's a broad view of it, and then you can get into, so you start getting
Shout
into.
out to Kelsey.
You know, it's like
Kelsey with the color console.
Man, it's because then you start, but there's layers to it, because, like, you can talk about, oh, this is warming, this is color. But like the basic, from what I've been learning, I say I'm not a image consultant. I'm working on the certification, but they talk about the difference of contrast, mainly within the skin tone, with your skin tone to your hair to your eyes. What is the contrast there? So, like, there's different ways of telling that. So knowing, like, if you're a high contrast person, you probably would want to go high contrast in some of your outfits. So, like, high contrast from between your pants and your shirt and things like that. If you're a low contrast person, then you can wear a lot of low contrast stuff. So that's where you can do a lot of the mono looks and things like that, because those things work better. And it's something that most people are not going to notice or tell unless you're talking to those experts of people that do this on a regular basis. But now that I start paying attention to, I don't know if it's just in my head, because I've been trying to do my own, and I feel like I'm between medium to high contrast. With the color of my hair and my skin tone. But a lot of times you can be like, you have to look at yourself in a black and white or shadow picture to see more of the true contrast. And I was like, when I started doing more contrast in my outfits, it seemed like they looked better.
Interesting.
I don't know if it was just in my head, but, like, I was like, man, I don't know what's going on. It's like, let me try some darker pants. It's like, boom, it hit. I was like, I don't know. I was like, I guess
it works. That's interesting.
But that also goes to the confidence too, though. That helped me my confidence, and that's also help make the outfit look a little better. So it's like, it's like
this objective and subjective thing that we're kind of dancing around again. Which is like, there is an objective beauty that you can kind of strive to
standards of sorts, or like rules that have stood the test of time, kind of stuff.
It's good, like I say, it's good to know the rules, but, like, being completely structured by them is a challenge. Like I say, it's good to know the rules so you know how to properly break them.
Do you have a favorite rule to break?
Oh man, I'm just learning more new stuff. It's like, there was I grew up with this whole black and brown rule. And it's still it's still technically a thing. Like, you don't wear black and brown together.
Right.
You know? And it's like,
no, that one's stuck in my head. I've felt that for years.
Belts and shoes.
Like,
I am literally wearing some shoes with brown sole and they're black leather.
That's great.
So it's like, you know, I'm like, wait, what are we doing here?
Like, why did we make that rule?
Yeah, it's like, they're two neutral colors. Like, I remember my tailor back when we was in Deep Ellum, he was like, dude, they're two neutral colors. I don't know. But it's like, when I started talking to more really advanced people, it's more about the more into the contrast of, like, what color of brown you're wearing with black. For me personally, if I'm wearing a black suit, if I wear, I don't wear a lot of black suits, but say I had a black suit on, if you wore some chocolate brown shoes with them, you could get away with it, in my opinion. If you wore, like, a camel color, really bright orange,
contrast.
And I'm picking up from some other things, like, now I'm noticing that like, even like with, we always used to wear the gray suit and navy suit and you put brown shoes with it. The color of brown you wear makes a difference because it's just not any color of brown. You probably want to go darker because if you go with the bright orangey camel color with a gray suit and a navy suit, which is everybody does it.
Yeah.
And it's a standard and it's okay. But if you really start paying attention to like, that's a really stark breaking up of the silhouette when you're looking from top to bottom when you get to, nice zoom, boom, these bright orange shoes.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's probably better to either do black or brown. Like,
say, more subtle.
I personally look at it as it's just more of a preference.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Yeah. But like, it's technically a rule because I got some dudes I follow that are just totally against it.
Yeah.
It's like, but yeah, it's,
man, that's interesting.
You can get into the weeds. At the end of the day, just get you some oxblood maroon and just wear it with anything. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, just do it in between.
Well, Derandon, tell us, D for Dapper, what's kind of the future for it? I know you have storefronts, you do collaborations. What's coming up?
It's more of getting a lot of these ideas we have in our head down on paper. A lot more events we want to do, and a lot more collaboration with other creators, other businesses. I have some events. Stay tuned.
There you go.
I got one event that I'm really. It's kind of like the baby. I'm trying to put it all together.
Nice.
Just get some different hands, some different people, and we're gonna
Man, that's awesome. How should people follow along to know about that?
Instagram is the best place to keep up with us. All of our information is on Google, so it has our hours. It has connection to a lot of our social medias.
Cool.
And we're on TikTok too. But yeah, mainly Instagram. That's where we're putting all our information. Yes. Yeah. And anything D for Dapper, you Google D for Dapper, all our stuff is gonna pop up.
Nice.
Yeah.
Awesome, man. Well, Derandon, thanks for coming on the show. It's good to see you.
It's awesome.
I thank y'all for having me.
Yeah, of course, man.
That was great.
Yeah, we'll see you soon.
We'll pop over, man.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
Hey, thanks for tuning in to this episode of The Hidden City. We hope you discovered something about Oak Cliff that you didn't know. If you enjoyed the show, I hope you subscribe to it on YouTube and then follow us on any of the podcasting platforms. Also, if you enjoyed it, please share with a friend, and thanks so much for tuning in.